Good Vach, my friends. Today we're learning Bobe Bastro Daf Kuf Lamed Ches. We're going to start Daf Kuf Lamed Zayin und Beis, 4 lines up. Omar Rav Yuda Omar Shmuel, הכותב נכסיו לאחר, ואמר עלה, אי אפשרי בהן. קנה, ואפילו עומד וצווח, ורבי יוחנן אמר לא קנה. אמר רבי אבא בר ממל ולא פליגי. קל"ח עמוד א', כאן בצווח מעיקרא, כאן בשותק מעיקרא ולבסוף צווח. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel, someone who gives his possessions to someone else as a present, and the other one says, I don't want these ones. And even if he's screaming, I don't want to be zoicha in this present. So the Rabbi Yochanan says he's no koina. And Rabbi Abba Bar Mamel says, Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Shmuel says, he's koina even if he screams, and Rabbi Yochanan says he's not koina. And Rabbi Abba Bar Mamel said that there's no machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Shmuel. The difference is, if he was screaming from the beginning, then everyone agrees. He said he doesn't want it from when they told him here's a present, and he said he doesn't want it. You can't force a person to get a present. In the case where we said he is koina, where Shmuel said he is koina, so at the beginning he was quiet, and then he's screaming. So it's too late. Once you're koina it, you're koina it. אמר רב נחמן בר יצחק, זיכה לו על ידי אחר ושתק, ולבסוף צווח, באנו למחלוקת רב שמעון בן גמליאל ורבנן. דתניא, הכותב נכסיו לאחר, והיו בהם עבדים, ואמר לו, אי אפשר בהן, אי אפשי בהן, אם היה רבן שני כהן, הרי אלו אוכלים בתרומה. רב שמעון גמליאל אומר, כיוון שאמר לו, אי אפשי בהן, כבר זכה בהן יורשים. So, the Gemara says that Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchok says that someone who Reuven comes and he gives a present to Shimon, he gives Levi to be zoichet for Shimon, and he's quiet at the beginning, and afterwards he's screaming. So says Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchok, in such a case, this is the machlokes of Shimon Gamliel and Rabbanon that we learned in the Brisa, that if someone gave to his friend possessions, and there was slaves in those possessions, and the person who received them says, I don't want these possessions. So we say, if the one who received the present was a Kohen, so they could eat Truma because it belonged to him, it's too late. That's why he was quiet at the beginning, it's too late, and he gets them anyway and he's a Kohen. But really in the Brisa it doesn't say that he was quiet at the beginning. We're going to explain it that way. But in the Brisa it says he just doesn't want it, and we say afilu ochi, the Baal HaMatana gets them, and he's a Kohen, could feed them Truma, like a Kohen who could feed the slaves Truma. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, since he doesn't want, so the Yorshim, that means the first one who gave the Matana, it's his or it's his Yorshim. And we ask the Shaila, the Tanakama who says that belongs to the second person who was screaming, even if he was standing and screaming, why should it be his? He says he doesn't want his present. So, Amar Rava, ואיתם רבי יוחנן, וצווח מקורא דכולם לא פליגי דלא קני, שתק ולבסוף צווח דכולם לא פליגי דקני. כי פליגי שזיכה לו על ידי אחר ושתק ולבסוף צווח. דתנקמה סבר מדשתק קנינו, והידי כצווח מהדר ודכהדר בי. רבי שמעון גמליאל סבר הוכיח סופו על תחילתו, והידי לא צווח עדשת סבר כמעט ולידיה, כי לא מת ולידיה אם היה צווח. So the Gemara asks, and in the Brisa over there, it doesn't say that he was quiet and then he screamed. It says that he said he didn't want it. So the Gemara asks, what's pshat? If he doesn't want it, he shouldn't get it. So Rava explains, in the name of, and some people say Rabbi Yochanan explains it, if you screamed straight away and Reuven said, I want to give it to Shimon, and he said, I don't want it, everyone agreed that he's not koina. If at the beginning he said nothing and he was willing to, he didn't say anything, and only afterwards he screamed, everyone's willing, everyone agrees that he is koina, because it's too late. Once you're koina. When are the machlokes? The machlokes says when Reuven gave it to Shimon, al yedei Levi, and when he gave it to Levi to be zoichet for Shimon, Shimon was quiet, and then when Levi wanted to give it to him, or Reuven wanted to pass on to Shimon, then he said, I don't want it. So Tanakama holds, listen, at the beginning you're quiet when we were maknet, you never did any mechal, so it's yours, too late. And Rabbi Shimon Gamliel holds that ochiach sofa al tchilato, meaning because when he came to him, he screamed, it means also at the beginning he didn't want it. And the reason why he didn't scream at the beginning, because he wasn't involved. We gave it to Levi to be koine for him. So Shimon said to himself, no one's giving me anything right now. No one's giving me any possessions. I'll keep quiet. When they'll want to give it to me, I'll say I don't want it. And therefore, we take on that from the beginning he didn't want it, and therefore he's not koine. And therefore, in our case, that's what we are told on this machlokes. And a guy, that if he was mezakeh by someone else, and he was quiet when he was mezakeh, till he did someone else, and then he screamed, it's a machlokes of Tanakam and Reb Shimon Gamliel. תנו רבנן, שכיב מרע שאמר תנו 200 זוז לפלוני ו300 לפלוני ו400 לפלוני, אין אומרים כל הקודם בשטר זכה. זוכה לפי כך יצא עליו שטר חוב, גובה מכולם. אבל אמר תנו 200 זוז לפלוני ואחריו לפלוני ואחריו לפלוני, אומרים כל הקודם בשטר זכה. לפי כך יצא עליו שטר חוב, גובה מן האחרון, אין לו גובה משלפניו, אין לו גובה משלפני פניו. So the Gemara says, we learned that someone's passing away, and he said, I want to give a present 200 pounds or zuz or whatever it is to Reuven, and then 300 to Shimon and 400 to Levi. And now we don't say that if they gave Reuven first, it means that he wants that Reuven should have a stronger ownership in Shimon and Shimon a stronger ownership in Levi, because you can't say in one moment all the things. So he said it together, it means they all get a present. Therefore, if now the guy who gave the present owes people money and they're coming to be taking from the Nechosim Meshubadim, they're coming to take the money that he owns, and let's say it's worth karkois, worth this money, so they could come and claim from the people who he gave a present. So the Balchoiv, the Malve of this Noise Matana, can't go first to Levi, then to Shimon, then to Reuven. He could go to anyone who he wants, because it's as if he gave the present together. But if he said in the Lashon when he gave the present, give 200 to Reuven, and afterwards Shimon 300, and afterwards to Levi, and that means he used the Lashon Acharov, the Lashon of afterwards, that means he added that it should be after, that means so first Reuven gets it, then Shimon, and then Levi. So therefore the din is when Baal Choiv comes to be goyver from Mishubadim, he takes from the last one who bought the land or got a present from the loiver. So the last one, since he said Acharov, is Levi. If Levi doesn't have enough to pay the Choiv, then he could go to Shimon. If Shimon doesn't have enough, then he could go to Reuven, but he can't go directly to Reuven. Continue the Gemara. Tanu Rabbanan, Shchim Mira Shamar, Tnu 200 zuz leploni beni bechor, karaui lo. Notlan venotelet bechoroto. So, someone who's dying, and he says, I want to give 200 zuz to Ploni, who's my son, who's a bechor, and he added the words karoi lo, what he deserves. And so it says, he takes the 200, and he also takes afterwards what he deserves to gather Bechorah. It's not instead of his Bechorah, this is what he got. And we're going to see on Amud Beis, we explain, because he used the extra long Lashon of Karoilo, he wanted to give him extra. But continues the Gemara, Im Amar b'Bchorato, Yado al Elyona, Rotze notel notlan, Rotze notel Bchorato. So, if he said, he didn't say Karoilo, he said I want to give Ploni, my Bechorah, 200 for his Bechorah. So we see, we give the Bechorah to choose. If the Bechorah part is more than 200 zuz, he can take the Bechorah part. If this is the 200 zuz more than a Bechorah, he'll take the 200. But he can't take both. Continue the Gemara, similar two cases. ושכיב מרע שאמר תנו 200 זוז לפלוני אשתי כראוי לה, נוטלן ונוטלת את כתובתה. אם אמר בכתובתה, says the Gemara קל"ח עמוד בייס, ידע על העליונה, רוצה נוטלותן, רצה נוטלת כתובתה. ושכיב מרע שאמר תנו 200 זוז לפלוני בעל חובי כראוי לו, נוטלן ונוטלת חובו, ואם אמר בחובו, נוטלן בחובו. So the two other cases are similar cases to the case of the Bechorah. The second case is that he said to his wife, Ashkimra said to his wife, give 200 zuz to her, and he added the roi koroiloi. So we say it's not for the ksuva. It means to say this is a present, and also she'll take a ksuva. But if he said that it should be for ksuva, so it's like we said about the Bechorah, she could choose or to take the 200 zuz, or to take the ksuva that's more than the 200 zuz. She could choose. And the third case is the Shchimura, someone who's dying, said give 200 zuz to someone who I owe him money, and he's added on that he deserves it. So we say that he takes his 200 zuz and he takes his choiv. And if he never said this, if he said that it's for his choiv, he only takes this if it pays off the choiv. If not, he can take more. On that, the Gemara asks, Mishum de amar karoi lo notlan notelet chovo, v'dilma karoi lo bechovo ka'amar. What's pshat in the last case when he said take 200 zuz to the one who I owe money what he deserves? L'chara, when he said what he deserves, it means as his choiv. It didn't mean to say to give 200 zuz and his choiv. So why do we say that he gets both? Amar Rav Nachman, Amar li Huna, Hamani Rabbi Akiva hi, דדאית לישנא היתרא דתנן, ולא את הבור ולא את הדות, אף על פי שכתב לו עומקה ורומה, וצריך לקח לו דרך, דברי רבי עקיבא, וחכמים אומרים, אין צריך לקח לו דרך. ומודה רבי עקיבא בזמן שאמר לו, חוץ מאלו שאינו צריך לקח לו דרך, עלמא כיוון דלא צריך, וכאמר, לתפוי מילתא קאתי. אך אינם מכיוון דלא צריך, וכאמר, לתפוי מילתא קאתי. So the Gemara explains this, to answer this question, the Gemara says, Rav Nachman says, I only explained him. Who is this price? It's Rabbi Akiva, who's medayek that when someone uses extra lashon they don't need to use, it means that he wants to give more. That we learned in the Mishnah that if someone sold a house, in the house is not included the sale, not the bora, not the dus. It's two types of pits of water that the person has in his house, and that's not included in the house. It's a separate entity. Even though they said, I'm selling you all what's high and all what's low. It's not included in the sale. Now the question is, do you need to buy now? Okay, so Reuven sold Shimon his house. We said Reuven stays the owner of the bor and the dus. How does Reuven get into the bor and the dus? Rabbi Akiva says he has to go to Shimon and buy a way to get in there. And Chacham say he doesn't need to buy a way, because it's a machlokes if a person's moicha b'ayin yofa or not b'ayin yofa. And Rabbi Akiva holds the person's moicha b'ayin yofa, and therefore he sold also the way to the bor and the dus. Now it continues Rabbi Akiva and says, if the person added on something they didn't need to add on, and he said that what did he add on? He said, and in the contract clearly that I'm not selling you the bor and the dus. Now I didn't need to say that. We said whenever you sell a house, it means without the bor and the dus. And he added on and he said without the bor and the dus. In that case, he doesn't need to buy the path to get to the bor and the dus, to the pit of water. Why that? Because he didn't need to exclude the bor and the dus. Why did he specifically say, I'm not selling you the bor and the dus? Pshat is because he wanted me to say, I'm leaving myself more. I'm leaving myself also the way to the bor and the dus. So therefore also by us, since he added, in the cases where he added koroi loy, they didn't need to add that by the bechor, by the wife, by the baal choy. It means they wants to give extra. This is 200 zuz of the present, and the bechor, nothing to do with the bechor that he's going to get, nothing to do with the ksuba that the woman's going to get, and nothing to do with the choy that he owes anyway. תנו רבנן, שכיב שאמר, מנה יש לי אצל פלוני, העדים כותבים אף על פי שאין מכירים. לפיכך כשהוא גובה צריך להעביר ראיה, דברי רמר וחכם אומרים אין כותבים אלא אם כן מכירים, לפיכך כשהוא גובה אין צריך להעביר ראיה. So the Gemara says a brisa that someone who's going to die, and he says Ploini Almoini Reuven, let's call him, owes me money. So can the Eidim who were there write down a star and say, we were sitting over here and we saw that this person, the Shkimra, said that Reuven owes him money or not? So the first mayor holds, they're allowed to write it down. And therefore, when it comes to Bezdin, this document, and it says that the Shkimra said that Reuven owes him money, Bezdin have to look into it. Because otherwise, all we have here is a Teviyah. We don't have any raya. That the Eidim wrote it. All the Eidim wrote was that this Shkimra said that Reuven owes the money. It didn't say that they know he owes the money. Therefore, Bezdin have to look into it. That's Divrei Amer. Chachamim say Eidim are not allowed to write only if they know that this person owes the money. If they don't know that Reuven owes a Shkimra money, they're not allowed to write the star. Therefore, if such a star does come to Bezdin, Bezdin doesn't need to look into it, because obviously if the Eidim wrote this, obviously means they know about it. So all they need to do is to make sure that the Eidim actually signed this document, and that means they know actually that this person owes money, and then they could sue him, but they don't need to check if he really owes or not. Amar Rav Nachman Amar li Huna Taned Rabbi Meir Omer En Kotvin, the Chachamim Omrim Kotvin. So Rav Nachman says, Ahunu told him that there's a different girsa. The Aryeh is the one who says you're not allowed to write such a thing if the Eidim don't know clearly, and therefore Bezdin, if he comes in front of Bezdin, obviously Bezdin could be Tovia from the star. And Chachamim say you do write, and therefore if Bezdin such a star comes in front of Bezdin, the Bezdin will have to look into it. The continues the Gemara. And the whole reason where Aryeh says that you don't write such a thing, why not? Why can't the Eidim write that that they saw that the Shchimra said that Reuven owes him money? What's wrong? So we explained that the reason is because we are scared that when it comes to Bezdin won't know the din that you're allowed to write it, even though that they don't know that he really owes him money. And therefore Bezdin will straight away be goiver from this shtar, and it's shaloi kadin because they never looked into it, if it's true or not. And that's why lechatchila you're not allowed to write such a shtar. Amar Rav Dimi min Arda, ilcheta en chosheshim lebedin toim. So Rav Dimi min Arda says, halacha is, you're not choshesh for Bezdin toim, and therefore you're allowed to lechatchila to write such a shtar. If a Shchimra says Reuven owes the money, the Eidim could write, we were sitting and the Shchimra said that Reuven owes us money, and we testify that he said it. And we're not choshesh that the Bezdin would be toya to take out with the shtar money, even though that they never looked into it. On that the Gemara asked, Uma Ishnami de Rava da Amarava, en choltzim ela im ken makirin, ve'en mema'anim ela im ken makirin, lefikach kotvim get chalitza veget miun, ve'af al pi she'en makirin, משום דחוששים, מה טיימה? משום דחוששים לבית-דין טועים? לא, בית-דין, בתר בית-דין הלוי דייקי, בית-דין בתר עדים דייקי. So the Gemara asks the kasha. We said the halacha is that we no choishesh for Bezdin Toya. So the Gemara asks, why is it any different to Rava? The Rava says, Bezdin, if a man and a woman come to Bezdin and say, we want to do chalitza. Man says, my brother was married to this woman and he died, we have no kids, I want to do chalitza. So says Rava, if Bezdin don't know that this guy his brother was married, they don't know these people, they don't know that they really need chalitza, you're not allowed to do chalitza only if they know, and they're not allowed to do miyun only if they know miyun is a ketana, that the brother's married her when there's no father, and she could walk around out by miyun, meaning she tells her husband, I don't want you, and she walks out. So if Bezdin don't know the circumstances and they don't recognize that they were married or anything, you don't do this. And therefore, says Rava, if Bezdin did write, do a chalitza, if Bezdin did a chalitza, you could write to get chalitza, you could write that this person gave a chalitza to the woman, and you could write to get miyun that this woman was mine from her husband. Even though that you don't know the situation and you just watching the situation and you just saw the Bezdin gave a chalitza, Bezdin did the miyun, you could write it down and give like a get for it. Why that? Because Bezdin wouldn't do a chalitza and would not do a miyun if not that they looked into the situation. Because they're not allowed to do a chalitza stam. So it must be they looked into it and they know that chalitza is worthy over here, so therefore, mimele, you could try to get chalitza. So says the Gemara, what's the reason? Is it not mishum dechoishin Bezdin toim? That means, what's the reason that the first Bezdin needs to know the circumstances and know that this guy was a brother of someone who was married to this woman, or this person's married to a young girl and she's doing miyun? Why do they need to know? L'chora, let them just do the chalitza, let them do the miyun. And the next Bezdin, what would be the whole chashash? That the next Bezdin will say, oh, if they did chalitza, she's mutaras lashuk. If she did miyun, she's mutaras lashuk. And maybe that's not the circumstances. Maybe she needs a proper get. We don't know what the circumstances, so we choishish that the next Bezdin will let her get married, and that's why ein choltzim Elohim came. If you know the circumstances, so we could see that we are choishish for Bezdin Toya, that the second Bezdin will do a toes, and that's why the first Bezdin is not allowed to do chalitza miyun only if they know the circumstances. And here we said before, we're not choishish for Bezdin Toya. On that the Gemara answers, that depends. A Bezdin after Bezdin will choishish, and a Bezdin after Eidim will not choishish. Meaning, in the case of chalitza, if one Bezdin knows that chalitza, the Bezdin of Bnei Brak knows that the sit in Yerushalayim, Bezdin made chalitza between this man and this woman. So the Bezdin of Bnei Brak will say, oh, obviously the Bezdin in Yerushalayim looked into it, and therefore we could be mad to this woman to get married. In the same case by miyun. They'll have a mistake after the other Bezdin. They'll assume that the other Bezdin looked into it. And that's why we're choishish, because it's a Bezdin after Bezdin. But what's the case by us? The case by us is a chashash that the Bezdin is going to see the shtar and they're going to say, oh, the Eidim signed on it, it's good enough, and we'll go ahead and be tovea this money. But no, we're not choishes that Bezdin will be mistake because of Eidim. They'll look into it and they'll ask the Eidim, what did you see? What do you know about it? Do you know that this person owes money, or you just heard the Shchibara saying that the person owed money? And they won't make a mistake because they'll check the Eidim before they'll take the money. And we're not choishes for Bezdin to have a mistake after Eidim because of Eidim. They look into the Eidim, but Bezdin after Bezdin, we are choishes that they might do a mistake, and that's why over there, Ein Cholzim Ein Me'amnim, only if they know. Thank you very much, and I'd like to wish you all a very blessed week with B'suras Tova, so we shouldn't suffer so much like in the past year, so much sorrows, and we should be zeicher for Geula, Kroiva, B'meira, B'yameinu, Amen.